it be that after so many years of base strife and jealousy, decades of console rivalry can finally end? Yeah, it can actually, because Sonic and Mario have finally sorted it out in the name of casual gaming and come together on the Wii. This week, we met with the lads at Sega and they showed just how they turned the remote into an Olympic torch for Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games. Also in this show, we get the latest on Gran Turismo from the Tokyo Game Show. We review the old school swordplay of Warriors Orochi.
You want me to round up some bandits?
And visit the Star Wars universe yet again for a PSP Battlefront. But first... It started off with Johnny Knoxville bravely testing tasers, mace and a bulletproof vest on himself for a low-budget skate video. Who'd have thought that Jackass would become one of MTV's biggest ever series? It's surprising then that it's taken 7 years for the game to finally come our way. But Johnny, Steve-O, Wee Man and the rest of the gang have now been immortalised in their own PSP game, with PS2 and DS versions also available. Actually, it's most of the rest of the gang, because a certain Bam Margera is noticeably missing. Maybe he's got a solo game project in the pipeline, The Splitter. Absent friends aside, Jackass the game is a sizable collection of 35 mini-game scenarios, inspired by the life-threatening comedy antics that made the TV show such a phenomenon. For story mode, there's some semblance of a plot holding it all together. Their usual director has injured his manhood in the line of duty, and you've got to stand in while he's out of action.
The first day of shooting the new season, and we still got to get the other guys here, and now we need a new director, because that one broke the camera!
This means you get to follow the Jackasses around, filming them as they risk their lives, limbs and dignity to perform the most maniac stunts that their damaged brains can come up with. In each scenario, certain objectives have to be met. Generally, doing 3 of these gets you the bronze medal, 4 will earn a silver, and all 5 gets that prestigious gold award. Each set of stunts needs a full rack of the satisfactory bronze medals in order to progress to the next lot, which isn't always easy to achieve. The pranks cover all sorts of recklessness. Pachinko Precipice sees them throwing themselves down a steep mountainside. Objectives include racking up an enormous hospital bill. Not difficult then. Rooftop Kart Stop is kind of like a game of supermarket trolley chicken on a tall building. Speed towards the edge, stopping as close as you dare. Suburban and urban wakeboarding sees them dragged along the streets on a dustbin lid, grinding on stuff and knocking things over.
I feel like partying right now. Woo!
Party Boys section plays like a Bemani dancing game. Disappointingly though, your button pressing doesn't have much effect on the animation. In Golf Rally, you terrorise a crazy golf course with flat-out kart driving, a bit like the famous scene in the movie where Knoxville almost breaks his neck. The Suburban Catapult launches Jackasses through the air with specific targets to crash into. For Elephant Poo Dive, the lucky participant leaps from a skyscraper. While you're falling, you must press buttons in sequence to perform manoeuvres before they land in a steaming pile of dung. Take a one-wood, a box of grenades and a big house. Now you've got the vital ingredients for a round of demolition golf. We don't remember ever seeing this stunt on the show. Who'd be dumb enough to give this lot live grenades? All the events are easy to play thanks to the basic control schemes used throughout. The downside of this simplicity is that there's little depth to the gameplay, and despite there being lots of unlockable stuff to reward good performances, there's not much incentive to spend time perfecting the art of jackassery. The PSP version does include a fairly comprehensive editing feature, so you can compile the best footage into your own series. But at the end of the day, most of the mini-game action isn't going to hold your attention for the long term, unless you're a massive fan of the series. We'll give it 3 out of 5.
Come on, you little sissy.
This strategy action game is Warriors Orochi, a violent mix of the worlds of Dynasty Warriors and Samurai Warriors. The Fuse series, known for its immense battlegrounds and hundreds of enemies, has fought its way onto the 360 and PS2. Players can select from 77 characters and fight their way through 4 crossover storylines, pitting characters from both games against each other for the first time. Exciting stuff, we thought. How wrong we were.
You want me to round up some bandits?
A new tag team system is in place, allowing you to take 3 characters into battle at the same time. By recruiting a madman of each character class, you'll gain power, speed and technique.
I'm feeling ready for a serious scrap.
We figured a balanced team would work best. Didn't really need a strategic head-on for that one. During the game, hitting the left trigger allows you to switch instantly between characters, giving the resting warriors time to replenish their health and muso gauges. Muso is the juice for special attacks.
There is still much for me to learn.
After completing battles, you're rewarded new weapons and upgrade points to enhance character abilities. A new weapon fuse option allows you to combine weapon strengths as well.
Do not waste your time. Your impulse shall be your own.
In the story, the Serpent King Orochi has descended from the sky and kidnapped all the best warriors. It's the second raters that are left to take on his might. Terrific. I got that information from a press release. Trying to work out what is going on from the cutscenes alone was impossible. The badly translated script combined with awful voice acting was just frustrating and annoying to watch.
Our Lord is unused to receiving orders. This must be hard for him.
And the disappointment didn't stop there. This game was without a doubt the worst game we've had the misfortune of playing this year. It's like the developers just didn't care. Poorly designed maps make it difficult to navigate. We expect nice free roaming areas to play and not to be faced with invisible walls in this day and age. Endless button bashing combat means hours of tedious gaming. Soon, you'll realise that you only need to kill the enemy captains with their names helpfully positioned over their heads to win. The rampaging army that goes with them is completely immaterial.
Another victory for courage.
Computer AI is almost non-existent. Pathetic, in fact.
Why do they even bother?
They didn't even change the size of the text box to fit the English translation in. That's this title in a nutshell. Lazy, shoddy work.
It seems they are here to see if he is a worthy leader.
They don't like Cao Pi. But if Cao Pi can bring us lots of delicious food, like Lord Cao Cao used to, then I'll be happy.
This would be a very bad PS2 game at best, let alone a next-gen 360 title. Well, we've got no alternative but to give Warriors Orochi a pitiful 1 out of 5. Now remove this vile abomination from the screen at once.
You deserve a good spanking!
Every 4 years, the world forgets its worries and people unite at the Olympics. 2008 sees Beijing hosting the Games, and even past rivals Mario and Sonic are getting together for the big event.
Hi, my name's Stephen McGarry. I'm a PR manager at Sega. I'm here today to talk you through Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games for the Nintendo Wii. Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games is an official branded sports game on the Nintendo Wii, featuring both characters from the Mario and Sonic universes. There are 20 Olympic events in the game, playable using all different styles with the nunchuck and the Wii remote as well. So what you see here on the menu screen is a selection of events from athletics through to table tennis. Each of those use the Nintendo Wii remote and nunchuck in very, very different ways. So we're just going to go into archery here.
Archery!
Okay, so we've chosen Yoshi for this event. Here I am wielding my bow. I have to point the Wii remote at the screen. You can see the A and the B coming up, so you press on A and down to B just to get things lined up and draw the string back on your bow. Now you're going to see there's a left, on the left there's a nunchuck cursor there in green, and the one on the right is the one that I'm holding with the Wii remote, like a bow and arrow. So I've got that pulled back. All I need to do now is just line these two up and you'll see that go yellow. So Once I'm happy with that, I'm going to shoot it in the target and got quite a result there with the 10 points. On the trampolining, it's probably best to just use the Wii remote, so I'll unclip the nunchuck there. So what you have to do is, you'll see a character on the mat, you have to lift up, and then just as they're about to go down onto the mat, you have to lift, and that will gradually increase your height. So once you get to a certain height, which I think is 7 meters, you'll then be given a button combination to nail in order to be able to pull off those like the flips and stuff like that.
In lane 1, team Sonic. Leave it to me.
So on the relay, what you have to do is you have to start running using the Wii remote and the nunchuck. Hold down B, get your boost going. As soon as it says ready, you've got to time this perfectly before you start running. Right, go.
Hold on, where did she come from?
Speed lock, stop. Hold down B, other character starts running. Flick it up.
It looks like she's going to give Stefan a good beating with that remote.
Ah, the rowing action. Here we go. Please don't make me do this. So, right, so B, pull forward. It's all pretty straightforward once you start with B, and then it lulls you into a full sense of security, and then you get A coming up, which is quite what to say when I'm doing. Right, here we go.
Okay.
Nice fluid motion there. Oh, well done. We'd like to think that this is going to be another one of those games that gets the family round the telly at Christmas after the Queen's speech, or during, if that takes your fancy.
I'm not sure the Majesty would be very amused by that, although I'm sure Prince Philip gets to grips with his remote quite a lot. Join us in 2 minutes for Gran Turismo at the Tokyo Game Show.
Cops on Camera, the brand new series. Weeknights at 9 on Bravo.
The good, the bad.
Coming up, Gran Turismo spins into the Tokyo Game Show. But first... It's not hard to imagine the problems associated with squeezing just one of the Star Wars episodes onto the PSP. Imagine then the nightmare of jamming every single era and hero onto Sony's black cheese grater. In Star Wars Battlefront Renegade Squadron, LucasArts has tried to do just that. In the multiplayer anyway, but we'll deal with that in a moment. The single-player campaign is a more straightforward adventure. You take your place as a member of the titular Renegade Squadron, a team led by Han Solo and secretly trained to do naughty things like kill Imperials and leave the lid off the jams.
We needed a new base. That's when Solo told me about Alderaan. Before Alderaan was destroyed by the Death Star, Bail Organa had made a list of locations for the Alliance to operate from, in the event that we might lose our base on Yavin 4.
The single player has a number of things going for it. Principally, it's variety. You'll be moving from various infantry shootouts with customizable characters to star battles with iconic fighters.
Best battle tactician we had.
Even movie notables such as Admiral Akbar get mixed up in the story. The biggest problem with the single-player campaign is that you're playing Rebels, and that's about as interesting as cheese mould. So why don't we move on to the PSP multiplayer? Up to 16 players over the internet and up to 8 ad hoc. At first glance, this fits squarely into the Battlefield Battlefront template. After you set up your battle, your objective is to capture enemy spawn points, called command posts here, and gradually take over the map. As with the other titles, to capture a spawn point, you just stand next to it until the enemy's flag is lowered and yours is raised. This being all high-tech, however, there are no flags. A bit dull, really.
A command post is under Imperial control.
What isn't so dull is that you can fight in Hoth, Tatooine, Bespin, Mustafar, Kashyyyk and other movie settings, as well as some worlds dreamt up for the game. You can play Imperials, which is an obvious plus, but you can also join the ranks of the droid army and those treacherous Republic troops too. Each side is customizable. You can cycle between trooper classifications, change appearance, and change primary and secondary weapons at each command post. Exciting weapons include the orbital attack platforms, and some really cool guided missiles. Crap weapons include the flamethrower, and yes, jetpack serene. Renegade Squadron is fantastically generous with vehicles, and not 30 seconds go by without some form of transport looming into view. You can also swap chairs within the vehicle, but don't rely on game AI to do the driving for you. But what really makes each game is the inclusion of heroes. After a set time on each battlefield, we were offered the chance to play Darth Vader, Darth Maul, Luke Skywalker, Yoda and Boba Fett, to name but a few. We didn't really care that most of the lightsaber-wielding characters used them like windscreen wipers. The heroes made each encounter instantly special. They have distinct multiplayer games designed around them too, like Hero Capture the Flag, where characters like Maul trip around the level, daring you to take the flag. Brilliant. Though attractively presented, the single-player campaign will be forgotten in a matter of hours, we suspect. But, providing you get a decent ad hoc game going, this may become the definitive multiplayer space shooter for the PSP. 4 out of 5.
Solo might not shoot first when it comes to bounty hunters.
Being diligent types, we spent our time at the recent Tokyo Game Show digging out the latest information on Gran Turismo 5 Prologue. And here it is. So, what the devil's new? Well, first up, what's new is a thing called My Page. It's where you can display all the cars you own in your garage. There's also a calendar indicating online racing events in the coming month. It's also the point for accessing your race records, people you've met, and your ranking in leagues. And if you hadn't noticed, that thing along the bottom is a motorsport news ticker. On the day of TGS, it carried the tragic news of Colin McRae's death. There's a lot of online features in this, the first PS3 GT game. Some are rubbish, like the manufacturer channels, which feed you promotional videos for cars you'll never own. Slightly better is GT TV, basically a library of petrolhead TV shows with names like Proper Car from all around the world. Of course, you have to pay first. GT is the car aficionado's car game. It's always had the most realistic cars and most comprehensive collection. And they're back in an expanded dealer mode, which this time carries press releases on new vehicles. we've got a glimpse of Mitsubishi's Lanza 07, which isn't even in real car showrooms yet. Brilliant. Okay, so once you've waded through the car bump paraphernalia gubbins, you might actually choose to go to a race. But before you can do that, you end up in this beautifully rendered pit lane. Choose either time attack, single race or drift race. Once again, there are two race types, amateur and professional, which is more difficult but more realistic. Okay, so now onto the race itself, and the good news is it looks freaking brilliant. It's 1080p, 30 frames per second, high def, and you can have up to 16 cars in one race, all competing online, which no other driving game can yet offer. In the shadow of magnificent Mount Fuji is this, the Suzuka circuit. View the action from various angles, of course. The in-car view is particularly impressive, with shadows streaking across the detailed interiors as you turn away and into the sun. But the thing that's revving up GT nuts to skid mark point is this, Daytona. It's not your usual GT circuit, being round and simple. But it's one great place to show off what is probably the best looking driving game yet. Prologue hits Japan December 13th, both on Blu-ray and as a download from PlayStation Network. There's also an online demo on October 20th. And we'll finish with a look at another stunning attraction from the Tokyo Game Show. A new cinematic from Metal Gear Solid 4 that nobody's seen yet. See you next week.
You deserve a good